So I bought two air purifiers at the same time, the larger AirDoctor 5500 and the smaller AirDoctor 3500, and my goal is simple. Is the larger unit worth it, or is it just a waste of money? And are these units worth it in general? And that's what we're going to dig into today. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Schuyler Diehm. I'm the founder of Reach Fat Loss and Fitness. I truly believe it is the most sustainable fat loss program out there. We take a holistic approach to internal and external transformation. And as of recording this video, our clients have lost over 4,800 pounds. We're almost across that 5,000 pound mark. And so if you are sick of the diet yo-yo, you're sick of losing fat and gaining it back, or just struggling to lose it in the first place, I want you to go down below this video, grab a complimentary consultation. It is completely free. On that call, I'm going to dig into your lifestyle, what you're struggling with. I'm going to lay out an exact plan of what it would look like to work together and what it would look like to get results. So head down below this video and do that. But in this video, we're digging into the AirDoctor. Now, I did not buy these to biohack every area and every metric of my life. I bought them for a pretty boring reason. I just want cleaner air in my house. I just moved to a new home. It's larger than I've ever lived in the past. And so I was looking for units that could effectively clear and keep the air clean. I've got two cats. I cook a lot. My living room, dining room, and kitchen all extend into one long room, and I don't want what I cook to seep into my furniture. So I ended up buying this bundle for Black Friday, and I've been using them for about 3 months now, and I definitely have some thoughts. So in this video, I'm going to break it down very simple. Number one, we're going to get into the hardware. What are these units actually like? Then I'm going to talk about where I specifically use them. We're going to go into what my experience has been, including pros and cons. Then we're going to touch on the difference in the two units and ultimately talk about the price and if it's worth it. All right, so for the 3500 unit, which is the smaller unit, we have a very simple display of buttons. So we've got the power button, we've got a button to change the speed of the fan, or you can use the auto feature, which makes all the other buttons pretty irrelevant. You can dim the light. So if this is a unit that is in your bedroom, you can turn off the circle light so that it doesn't keep you up. It's not interrupting your sleep. You can also have it run on a timer that extends up to 24 hours, which is pretty great. And then you can tap on this ion button, which is very interesting. It actually releases negatively charged ions into the air to help remove those super tiny dust particles. So if you really want to be firm with cleaning the air. And then we get into the 5500, which is the bigger unit. On this unit, we have the exact same buttons, except we also have a speed button. So an auto feature of how quick the fan is actually running, how much air it's pulling in to filter. And with this button, if you don't have the auto feature turned on, you can just adjust the speed. If you do have the auto feature turned on, you just get a visual of how quickly the unit is working. All right, so where do I use each one? So specifically, I took the smaller unit and I put it upstairs. So it's in the corner, the furthest corner of my house. It has my living room, my dining room, my kitchen, and then it extends the hallway down to bathroom, 2 bedrooms. The larger unit, the 5500, is in my basement. The basement is a more wide open room. It doesn't have some of those inner walls. And then it extends to another guest room and my office, which is where I'm recording this. And from the standards that it claims on its website, it should be able to reach to all these rooms. Obviously my door's closed now, so I'm not sure how much that works, but if the door was open, I'm assuming the air filter would be able to clean the air in here as well. So what about my actual experience using this filter? So it's been pretty simple for me. I haven't noticed a extreme dramatic change with the quality of my air. It's definitely subtle in terms of results, but I will say it's very consistent as well. The most noticeable things for me is when I cook, when I'm cooking a steak or something that gets extremely smoky, the air clears much, much faster. And my favorite part is my couch, my furniture that's in the living room, which is attached to the kitchen, doesn't have a food smell. When I cook like bacon or steak or things like that, there's no stench that seeps into the furniture. And I know the unit is working because when the air is smoky and when I am cooking, the unit starts to ramp up. So there's this great light. It's a blue light standard when it's just cleaning air normally. And when the air gets dirty and dirtier, it shifts to a yellow light. And then when it's dirtiest and it's working its hardest, it shifts to a red light. So when I'm cooking and it's getting smoky, the machine gets louder, it turns orange, it turns red, and then over time it'll slowly dim back to orange, slowly dim back to blue as it's cleaning the air. What's cool is that most of the time I don't even notice these units are running, so they are very, very quiet. The only time I do notice it is of course when they're working. When the fan speed picks up, when it's working on cleansing air, it does become pretty loud. And there was one time that was pretty cool. I was cooking upstairs and the air was getting a little bit smoky, and for some reason I came downstairs and the unit in the basement was actually a yellow light, so it was working harder. So it was cool that even though I was upstairs, the downstairs unit was also pulling the air and cleaning it. All right, let's talk pros, cons. So pros across both models, it's pretty consistent. Number one, it's a very quiet unit when it's not really working. I basically tend to forget that it's there. Number two, super easy to use with the auto button. It's very set it and forget it, so you don't have to like cook and then remember to go turn it on higher and then turn it off. It just runs on auto, which is great. The filters themselves have a very aesthetic look. They don't just look like these cheap plastic boxes. Like, they do really look high end, which is a nice bonus, because obviously if they don't look good, they're going to be kind of an eyesore. I love how you get a visual of how dirty the air is. So if the ring is blue, you're in the clear. If the ring is yellow or red, you just have a visual of, okay, I have a little bit more dirty air right now. The units also have lights that will alert you exactly when you need to change the filters. So this is a huge bonus. I don't want to guess. I don't want to have to set reminders or timers. It's nice that I can just look at the unit and see when it's time to swap those filters out. And the cool part about these filters is they use a high quality HEPA grade filter, which is really doing the work, really cleansing the air. It's not just this cheap thing that claims to be making a difference. And AirDoctor uses something they call an ultra HEPA filtration, which is designed to capture very small particles. So it really does go deep into cleaning the air. Let's get into cons, because I do have a couple real downsides here. So the first thing is on both units, the 3500 and the 5500, there is a cold air that comes from the unit. Now the fan is on the top, but my filter used to be on the left side of my chair or the right side of my chair, and I'd be sitting in that chair and I would be getting this cold blast. And I'm here in the winter in Utah, it's pretty chilly, and so that is kind of a negative, that I'm sitting there and I'm getting blasted with this cold air. So if you're sitting right next to it, you're gonna notice it. It's not a deal breaker. If you're sitting in the front of it, you're really not gonna feel it. It is kind of a side thing. It's not a deal breaker, like I said, but it is a real thing. Second, replacement filters are not cheap. So you're looking at roughly about $160 per year. I did end up getting an affiliate code with AirDoctor, so if you use that link in the description, you'll get those filters for $130, so you'll save about $30. But again, that's about a year, so if your air is more dirty, it's going to be more often that you're going to need filters. If your air is more clean, you're not cooking as much, it's going to be less often, but that does add up, right? A lot of us have subscriptions that last every single year, and we have all these renewals and all these charges, and if you're keeping up to date with these filters, that is just one more recurring expense. And with that said, I do like that it tells you when to change the filter instead of you just doing it on a routine once a year, but tending to change it too early. Those are my cons. In terms of the differences of 3500 versus 5500, my answer is for my specific space, I really don't think I needed the 5500. I think I would have been just as good with the 3500 in both my upstairs and my basement. Both do exactly what I want them to do, but the only time I'd recommend that 5500 is if you did have a larger, bigger, wide open space. So whether it's a warehouse or you're working in your garage or you just have a larger square foot home. But otherwise, if you don't have those, my instinctive answer is just go with the 3500s. Those are a great option. As far as price goes, so these are definitely premium items. For the 3500, it's normally around $659. If you use the affiliate link in my bio, you'll have $379, so that is a hefty savings. And then the 5500, which is the bigger unit, is normally around $999, and you get $699 with my link. So again, some pretty hefty savings. Even with the link though, they are a premium item. So ultimately, who is this for and who should skip it? I think an air filter like this is worth it if you care about your air quality, you have a lot of pets that have some dandruff or hair or shed a lot, or you cook a lot and you don't want the smells trapped in your furniture. And you probably don't need this filter if it's really out of budget for you, or you just don't care about air quality. Air quality is one of those things that is just silent. You don't typically notice the results for it, even if it is somewhat damaging your health over the long term. It's not like you're waking up day to day and being miserable because of the quality of your air. So my final verdict for these units, they are boring in the best way possible. They work, they stay out of the way, you set them and forget them, and yeah, they work really well. And like I said, if I were buying them again, I'd probably just stick with 2 of the 3500 units. and I'd only go bigger if the space actually demanded it. How about you? Have you used any of the AirDoctor purifiers? And if so, what has your experience been? With that said, I just want to thank you so much for watching, for being here. As a reminder, if you're looking for fat loss help, a holistic approach, we can take a look at all the micro details of air quality and water quality and all those things. But those big pillars of nutrition and movement do make the biggest difference. So if you're looking for help and support with that, make sure you head down below this video to grab a complimentary consultation. But thank you so much for watching, and as always, make sure to eat smart, move more, sleep deep, and be grateful for this moment. I'll see you in the next video.